Hey YouTubers, today I'm going to start a series of videos that I've been planning to do for a while now, just taking a look at Sooty puppets over the years, basically the different characters that have been released over the years. And I'm going to start off with the first video being the least well known and work our way up to the man himself. So for starters today we're going to take a look at Butch. Now Butch here actually appeared in the show before Sue did, I think. He was introduced in an episode where Sooty was going to get in a boxing match, but Matthew didn't want Sooty and Sweet fighting each other, so he introduced Butch to get into the ring with Sooty, and he was kind of a bad guy character, and he's always kept up that persona as a bit of a bully, a bit of a roughhouser, but is still kind of friends with the gang. He was used more in the late 70s in the early Matthew Corbett episodes. But then once the 80s hit, he was very rarely, only sort of once every 2 or 3 seasons, which is kind of a shame because I do like the character. But then in the early 90s is when this toy got released, which is kind of strange because by that point he wasn't really used very often. It was quite an obscure character, but there was a Sooty comic in the UK made by London Editions, which featured Butch in pretty much every issue as part of the main gang along with Sooty, Sweep and Sue. So I can only imagine that it's because of that appearance that he got a puppet made of him, and the puppet also most closely resembles how he looks in the comic, because in the TV show he didn't really look much like this at all. He had darker, kind of more curly fur, smaller eyes, and a smaller face as well, which would make it easier to puppeteer him because the cheeks kind of get in the way there. Now on eBay this guy goes for kind of 50 to almost £100 because he's really quite rare and obscure, and part of that's because he was only released for a couple of years in the early 90s, and part of it's also because a lot of people might not even realise that he's a Sooty puppet because he wasn't in the show much. They might just think it's some generic character, generic bulldog puppet. So if you do come across one and you can get it cheap, I'd gobble it up. That's a really nicely made puppet. I think he actually looks better here than he ever did in the show. Now he also appeared quite often in the Sooty series from the early noughties, which was kind of a sequel series to Sooty Heights, where they were in a hotel, which was a terrible series. But the one good thing about it was Butch got a spotlight. There'd always be kind of a main story revolving around Sooty, Sweep and Sue, and then a secondary story kind of revolving around Butch and what he was up to, with sometimes Scampy helping out, as Scampy was kind of the other naughty character who was a bit peripheral to the main group. Now, in that series, in the opening titles, there was a Butch puppet used which did look reasonably similar to this one, with the bigger cheeks, but he had kind of white patches all over him for some reason. But that one wasn't actually used in the show, it was just used in the opening, which was weird. But it just reflects the kind of poor quality of that show in general. I think by that point they'd stopped caring. The company who owned it, who had thought it would be easy money to just buy the Sooty rights and pump out whatever. Anyway, this is my quick look at Scampy. It's a really nice puppet. I got this in seemingly brand new condition off eBay back in 2008. My ex bought it for me, and it seemed as if it had never been used, which is amazing to find one in this good quality. He's got a nice sort of brown leather collar on him. I always wished that Sweep had come with a collar. I suppose I could just buy a little red cat collar for him, but I like that added detail on Butch. I like it that even though the cheeks get in the way, I do like how it looks, and his sort of beady little eyes make him look a bit more of a roughhouser, a bit more fierce than he did in the show. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed, and tomorrow we'll be looking at Scampy. So, thanks for watching. Bye bye everybody. Bye.
What's all this? A grown man talking about glove puppets? Get a life, you soppy Nancy. Gah.